Welcome back to Purpose Driven Passive Profits. Freddie Mac wants to be the new giant in town financing second mortgages. Check this out and check out how it's going to affect the housing market. What's going to do to investors like us that are playing the real estate game. Attention, accredited investors, check this out. We got a 72 unit off market, beautiful multifamily property, brick all the way around, and we smoked this one. Literally, pay attention to this. 4% interest. No one's getting 4% interest. Why? Because the lender loves this deal. This is unheard of in this market right now. Everybody else is paying 7, 8%, whatever. We got this at 4% fixed for 10 years because it's that good of a deal. If you are looking for a multifamily property to invest in, make sure you book a call with us, 15-minute phone call at homeinvest.com, or check out the show notes of the podcast. Now let's get ready for the show, and God bless you and be a good steward of what you got. My name is Nate Armstrong. I am the CEO of Home Invest. My partner is not here today. I get to film one more without him, and then he is back next week with us. But right now, Freddie Mac is saying, I want in. I want into the game of financing these second mortgages. Now, if you're wondering what the heck is a second mortgage, who the heck is Freddie Mac? Is that like Uncle Freddie? Here's the thing. Second mortgages are if you go and take out a home equity line of credit. That's usually a second mortgage. Why is it called the second mortgage? Well, because usually those are behind the first mortgage. You go to the bank, you take out a mortgage to buy a property, and then 10 years later, you got a bunch of equity. You go to the bank, you go to a different bank, maybe a credit union or your personal bank, and you say, hey, could I take out one of those home equity lines of credit? Lots of people do it. A lot of people, they use it for bad things like buying boats and cars and refinancing credit card debt. You shouldn't do that. And then there's other people out there that use it for smart things, like the investor that I met with on Saturday. I had a beautiful breakfast with an investor and his stepson on Saturday. We went through what his goals are and like what he's done with his life. And in that conversation, we figured out really quick that he did take out a home equity line of credit on a totally paid off house. And you know what he did with it? He didn't go buy a boat. He didn't go refinance credit card debt. He didn't buy new cars with it. He went and bought 3 rental properties with it. That's where a second lien on a property comes in. That's what you should be doing. But most people don't do that. So I'm just kind of clarifying the two. But there is a player that wants in, and the player's name is Freddie Mac, and it's a big player. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, they buy up most of the first mortgages in this country. So when your bank, US Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, when your bank writes you a loan, a mortgage on a property, they're usually not keeping it. You might think that they're keeping it because you still write them the checks each month, but they're not keeping it. What they're doing is they're packaging it up and they're selling it to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac is the second largest. Fannie Mae is the largest. The reason that they sell it is because then they can bring more money back onto their balance sheet. They can't just keep a loan out forever. Could you imagine these smaller or even regional banks? They would run out of money eventually if they were tying up all their cash in properties like this. So they sell it to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. And then they become the servicer, like the manager, the one that collects it every month for a fee. And then they just make fees off it from that point forward. And that's very common. What's not common is for Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac to get involved with second liens. They have never done it before. It's never been a thing. They always take the safest position, which is a first position loan. They always do. I've been in this game for a long time. I've had the blessing and privilege of doing now over, well, not quite 2,000 deals, but somewhere between 1,600 and 1,800 deals. And in that time period, I've got to see a lot of loans come through. I got to see a lot of structures. I've never seen Fannie or Freddie do a second position lien. Why are they doing this? What's going to happen? How does it affect you as an investor? That's the most important part. Well, number one, I think the reason that they're doing this is so that they have terribly slow loan traffic right now. We're at the lowest of the low. Whenever the market gets this high in interest rates, then people stop buying houses. So they're not making many loans right now. They're sitting back saying, holy cow, I got a lot of staff. I want to pay people. I want to make loans. So they want to be able to go out and tell local banks, hey, go ahead, write a second mortgage. I'll buy it from you. Write a second mortgage. I'll buy it from you. Let me buy that one. I'll buy this one. They want to be able to get some traffic coming through. So some of their volume they probably need right now. That's probably the biggest driver for it. So they can make money and fees and interest and all that stuff off of their money. The thing that's scary to me, and this is how it affects you as an investor, and this is the most important part. The scary thing to me is that when you go back and look at housing prices since 1965, we are at the highest of the high of the high. Like, it just doesn't get any higher. We are sitting on top of Mount Everest right now with prices. And it's currently sustained, so they say, because we've got strong employment. What I want you to watch, though, is that unemployment, it can switch with like the snap of a finger. Unemployment, I'll give you an example. November 2007, unemployment in the United States of America was at 4.7%. November 2007, remember that date, it was at 4.7%. Kind of similar to where we are now. Okay, that was November 2007, 4.7%. By November 2009, 2 years later, it was at 10%. Really, over an 18-month spread, unemployment just went out of control. Snap of a finger. Snap of a finger. 18 months goes by so fast. Like, just think about your life. Think about where you worked 18 months ago. What happened between then and now? Like, it was the snap of a finger in time. And so right now, if all of a sudden Freddie Mac gets in this game of buying second mortgages, which will inevitably provide more liquidity to lenders, they'll be able to write a whole bunch more of them. What do you think it's going to do to the housing market at the peak of the peak of the peak? It's going to let it drag the peak a little further. But I think Mount Everest has been scaled. I believe Mount Everest, I think we're now starting to descend. And so maybe it drags the peak out a little bit longer, but it's going to descend. And then I think, unfortunately, what happens to Freddie Mac, and this is how it's going to affect you, is that Freddie Mac ends up taking haircuts on these second liens that they make. Because when the market drops and people start walking away from their properties, it won't be all of them, but it'll be a percentage of them. And when that happens, Freddie Mac takes a hit. And guess who takes a hit alongside of Freddie Mac? Yeah, we do. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are still taxpayer tied. I don't know the exact relationship. There was a period in time back during the last financial crisis that the government actually basically became partners with them. They wrote so many checks to them to try to prop them up that the government became their biggest partner. I don't know exactly how the financial relationship works right now, but I know that it's government tied. And so it can affect you and I, more taxpayer dollars, if they start to get on a sinking ship that has to be bailed out again. So be prudent with your money right now. Be a good steward with your money. Don't just blindly look at things right now. Right now, you got to pay attention to what's happening in the bigger market. Now, I don't want to get involved myself on single family right now because of manipulation like this, like we just went through, like Freddie Mac, government-sponsored entity getting involved and say, I don't want anything to do with single family right now. I've gone all in on multifamily and manufacturing. Those are my two hot buttons. Right now, manufacturing is doing so well inside the United States of America because everybody wants to bring their production back home. They saw that supply chains can get broken in the middle of things like COVID. So I love manufacturing and I love my multifamily. The reason I love my multifamily is because in the midst of all of this craziness, like multifamily went down a little bit, went down 25 to 30%, depending on the city that we're talking about, and it hit bottom. And now it's coming back up. And you can still have a chance to grab it close to the bottom, not quite on bottom anymore, but close to the bottom. So if you've been looking for that trophy multifamily asset, then this is probably the best window in your life that you're going to be able to do that. That's all for this week. Thank you so much. God bless you. If you could take 1 second, if you got an ounce of value from this and share it with somebody else, I'd appreciate it. It costs you nothing. I've tried to add a lot of value to your life. We try to do that with this show every single week. I hope that it did give you some value. Now, if you could do us a favor and share it with someone that you think could use a piece of value in their life, I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. God bless. We'll catch you on the next one.